Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, I really want to talk about the importance of self-preservation and how you just cannot rely on others for your own well-being, and that you do eventually have to take things into control in your own hands. So one of the things that I want to show is this article here from the National Library of Medicine, or PubMed. And the reason I want to show it is because in the field of nursing, there's been a burnout and bullying problem for quite some time. So you can see this is 1986 and it says, nurses, are we eating our young? And then there's similar articles here. This one's 1984. Do nurse educators promote burnout, stress and coping in nursing students? So 99, 2002, 2004. Yeah, mental health, nursing experience, students of stress, burdened by a heavy load. This is in 2009. And one of the things I want to talk about is that some people, especially young, naive people, think that, oh, I can make a difference in a corrupt and evil system, right? And so they'll just say things like, well, why throw the baby out the bathwater? And then so what happens is that, whether you're in one of those professions where you're a school teacher, nurse, probably doctor too, those professions that are, quote, meant to help people, those are the people who get taken advantage of the most, unfortunately. And this has been a problem for a very, very long time. Once upon a time, at least you were able to enjoy your childhood. And once you get into adulthood, then you would be abused. But even children these days are just getting burned out and have pretty much mentally checked out at a very young age. So, why am I talking about nurses? And so the reason I'm talking about this is because recently in my feed, I found a news article, and it's kind of really tragic, right? About a young nurse. So you take a look here, October 17th, 2023. Nurse died and left a letter to her healthcare system. To the healthcare system she called an abuser, right? And so think about that. This system has been abusing people for quite a long time, 2023. And if I go back here, we have articles from the 80s, 1986, Are We Eating Our Young? Do nurse educators promote burnout? 1984, and on and on and on. And it's been a long time since I've heard these types of articles. And I think the reason why I don't really think about it too much is because sometimes I try to warn the young people, like, hey, don't, like, I don't know the best way to say it, but it's me trying to send the message, like, don't study too hard, don't believe the propaganda of the system. You have to eventually take your life into your own hands and eventually be a leader, and don't be work hard for an evil, corrupt system. And I talk about that a lot, and that kind of goes in deaf ears because I know a lot of kids who just kind of work themselves to death and kind of get nothing out of it, or eventually will get nothing out of it. Now, again, I'm a little bit older, so I kind of see the cycle of abuse over and over again. And it's kind of like lemmings, right? People just kind of fall off the cliff, and you just see it happen over and over again. It's unfortunate what's happened, right? So I saw this news article in my feed, and we'll go ahead and read it. But again, like, young people, no reason for bright, healthy, vibrant young people to ever go through this. And she, from Ohio, wrote a letter before she unfortunately left this earth, called a letter to my abuser, right? And so here it says, trigger warning. The following article discusses, unfortunate, things, right? So a nurse who died is making headlines for the letter she penned to her abuser, which she named as the healthcare system months before her death. Tristan Kate Smith died at her home August 7th, 2023, worked as an ER nurse in Dayton, Ohio. She was only 28 years old at the time of her death. While a young life loss was tragic, Smith's family also decided to share a private letter she had penned months before death, and they said they showed how the healthcare system had broke their little girl, right? So, from nursing nightmare, according to a letter to the editor, Smith's father wrote that she found the letter typed up before her death. The letter had been written in March this year, and then she passed away 5 months later, right? And then it says, you're reading this because her story needs to be told. The healthcare system is broken. It broke our girl, and she was in trouble. nurses are in trouble. They unfortunately, take their lives twice the rate of the general population. And so again, there's no reason why any of these things have to happen in 23. And the root cause of this is just an evil system and poor leadership, right? And sometimes even the leaders are trapped in their own in the evil system, right? So like let's say you try to take over the system, and unless you have complete control, absolute top to bottom control, sometimes the system just self-perpetuates its abuse. Okay? And so again, a lot of the young people are naive to what's going to happen to them if they work hard for a system that does not care about them. And a lot of people get abused and worked to death, and there's no sense of self-preservation in their mind, right? Or that completely goes over because you get worked to death. In fact, here's a funny, well, not a funny story. I remember one time, I was working with this 80-year-old gentleman, right? And he randomly just said a comment that like blew my mind. I don't know why, but he was just sitting on his chair, and we were kind of working together in different companies. And he said something inside a retail store that I was kind of working inside, and he was like, "Oh yeah, they'll work you to death and get rid of you as soon as you're useless to them." And I was like, "What?" And I don't know, for some reason, I guess it blew my mind because he was the only person at my life at that time who had said anything to that degree. And I think maybe just because like, he's old and he didn't even give a hoot, he just blurted out the truth. And that's kind of why I like the older people, to be honest, because, you know, they have no filter. And I love people who are honest and have no filter. But he just said that to me. He was like, "Yeah, they'll work you to death and get rid of you as soon as you're useless to them." And I think that was at that moment when I realized, wow, like, is that the agenda of what's going on in front of me? I didn't even realize that. And that's kind of what you have to kind of realize too, that that's the agenda of, quote, the system. It's going to work you to death and get rid of you as soon as you're useless to it, right? And it's unfortunate because, again, she seems like, from her picture, a very vibrant lady, right? And a lot of people do just suffer in silence, have nobody to turn to. I think that's really one of the reasons why I wanted to create the group, just to kind of create a positive environment, um, even if it's just all online for people to join and learn and grow together. I mean, my biggest issues, I have very few people in my life, especially in my hometown, where I can learn and grow together with, right? Okay, well, this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. If you're interested in joining our group, go ahead and click the Google form link below and we'll get on a Zoom call. Also, we've just started YouTube channel memberships. So if you want to join this YouTube channel, I think there should be a join button in the homepage. I don't really know how it works because it's all new to me. But for 99 cents, you'll have access to an exclusive once a month private stream for members, and you get access to these really cute emojis that I created, or not me created, but I hired someone to create. And so go ahead and join 99 cents if you're just interested in being part of that. Other than that, hope that you learned something, or maybe you didn't even realize this was happening about, the world that we live in. The world's a crazy place. A lot of people get used and abused, and they just kind of get thrown out as if, I don't know, the world's crazy. Like, another group of people who kind of get treated like this are teachers, right? And I know I'm kind of going on about this, but I think it's very important that that usually the professions who are kind of like geared towards helping people, those people will get treated the worst. Okay. All right. So let me just kind of end here. Have a great day. I hope I didn't depress you too much, but I always want to kind of give you doses of like reality along with like fun videos, other videos. Well, this one's not a fun video, to be honest, but I always like to give doses of reality, because what I want you to be is, I want you to be a strong leader who's kind and caring for other people, and who lifts up other people, right? Unfortunately, we don't have that, and I would say that lack of leadership and poor leadership is kind of like the biggest problem in our society. Okay, well, I'll speak to you next time, and have a great day.